Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this channel named Geeks for Geeks School. So, this is the game on which we guys were working on in the previous lecture, and let me just show you what all things have we done defining the code for on the Sublime text platform. So, that's the game that we were building, right? A snake game, if you remember, yesterday. And this is what we have built till now. So there is this beautiful sky background that we are done defining the code for. We have defined the code for this gray kind of gray field also, and then there is a black snake. So its head you are able to see right now, and that's the red food which is kept somewhere in the middle of this gray field. Now, in order to make this snake's head move in the upward direction, we can simply press the upward direction key, and using the direction keys, we can make the snake move in all the directions. Right. So the moment it will collide with this apple, so what will happen? So apple will change its position, and why it is able to change its position, just a second, I'll have to get rid of something here. Yeah, let me run this game again, because the tail was coming. I haven't defined the code for the tail yet. So when this black snake's head is colliding with the apple is changing its position, right? And why it is changing its position? Because the moment the snake collides with the apple, two new random numbers gets generated by the random function we have used, right? And those two numbers gets assigned to the x. One of those two numbers gets assigned to the x attribute of the position of the apple, and the other one gets assigned to the y attribute of the position of this apple. Let me just show you that code where it is happening. So that's where we have put a check on the collision part, and that's where the new values, some these values are getting assigned to this apple's x and y attributes, and we are able to see the apple changing its position. Now, the moment this snake's head will collide with any of these four boundaries, what will happen? You will see this message getting reflected, and the snake will come back to its initial position. So this is what we have defined the code yet. Now it's time for us to define the code with which we can, make the body of the snake appear on the screen, and the body should increase every time the snake collides with this apple. Its body also should increase by some amount. Now, how we'll do that? So, what we can do, we can make use of the list concept. Absolutely right. So, what I am doing here, I'm putting a variable named body. Let me initialize it with an empty list. Okay, so now we can come up over here, and inside this update function, we can put this, we can define this globally. We can define this body named variable globally. So that's the way we can do it. Right. Now, if you want to, create a new body, and then what we can do, we can append it to the snake's head. That's the concept we are going to follow. Now, when the new body should get created, so it should get created when the collision will occur. So inside this if control statement which we have defined here for checking the collision, we can put this code. So a new variable I'm using, new underscore body, and to this I would like to assign this value. So yeah, let's make use of this entity function. So parent is equal to, it should be equal to field only, right? And then model should be equal to, it should be a cube kind of model which I would like to see. Okay, and then we can have this z as minus 0.029. Okay, and then what do you want to see the body's color? What should be the color of the body? So that we can define with the help of this simple attribute color, and to this we can assign a green color. Right. Let's now define the scale of this body also. So I would like to have a scale of, I think, 0.05 will be more than enough, or else let's make it zero point 0.1. I think that is also a very good idea. Now, once a new body gets created with the help of this code, which we have defined over here inside this if control statement, next thing we need to do is we need to append this new body to the body empty list, which we defined some while back over here in the bottom, right? So to this, we need to append this new body now. How can we do that? With the help of this append function, which accepts one argument. We can do it very easily. So new body, we can pass it as an argument to this function. Fine. Now let's define a for loop also. So as to keep a check on the number of bodies which will get created by this new body. So one body means one queue, right? Another body means there is one more queue, one new queue which will get generated, and it will get saved in this new body, and from there it will come in this body list. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. And then for I in range of, let's first check the length of the body, and because the index number starts from 0, so we need to subtract 1 from this length, and then we can define the position. So 0 minus 1, and let's make it body I. So I'm now defining the position of the body. So it should get reflected over here. Body and I minus 1 should be equal to, so it should be I minus 1 dot position. Fine. Let me save the changes and run the code and show you the output, which this code I have defined is going to give us. Why I am getting an error over here now? That's okay. I haven't defined the indentation correctly. I think now we'll be able to get the correct output. Okay, so that's the snake. So the moment it will collide with this apple, let's see what's going to happen. So you can see a new rectangle has got created. And every time this snake is colliding with this apple, some new rectangle is getting created. We are not able to see the other rectangles because the positions of all the rectangles are same. They're getting created at the same position, so we are not able to see the other rectangles. So this is what is going to happen with the code that I have defined over here. Fine, and let me do one thing. I need to scale down the size of the rectangles because they are, bigger than the size of the snake. I don't want that to happen. So what the size which I've defined for the snake's head, let me just check that first. What is the size I've defined for the snake? Okay, I think it should be 0.05 something. So field, okay, camera, body, app.1. Yeah, it is 0.05. Let me put here 0.5. I think this is going to be a good option. Okay. Now, we can simply put a check on the segmentation also. So for that, just below this for loop, we can have an if control statement. So if the length of the body is, suppose, let's make it greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, fine. So what should happen? So body 0 dot x should become equal to self dot x, right? And body 0 dot y should become equal to self dot y. So this is what I would like should happen. Fine. Okay. And after this, if I'm running this code, what is happening? Let me show it to you first. So I'm able to see the snake over here. The moment it collides with this apple, a new rectangle gets generated, and it becomes the tail of the snake's head. So you can see every time the snake is colliding with the apple, the length of the tail is increasing. And why it is behaving as a tail, why the other rectangles which are getting generated automatically are getting added to the tail part, it's because of this code. Right, so this the rectangles are getting added in this body named list, and then they are taking their positions from the x and y attributes. Fine, self dot x and self dot y. That's the reason we are able to see the body length getting increasing. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's come up over here in this line of code, and let's add some code over here. So the first thing I would like to do is let's add a for loop. Why I'm doing this, I will tell about it to you later on. So I would like to keep a check on the body, right, on this list named body. So that is the best way, for loop is the best way you can walk through, or you can loop through the elements stored in a list. Segment dot position should be equal to 10 comma 10, right? And then we can have this thing body should be equal to null. So why I have used this code over here, the moment the snake's head collides with the any of the four boundaries of the gray wall, gray field, then this will get executed. Besides that, this code will also get executed. Now what this code will do, let me just show that to you. So I've saved the changes, and I'm able to see the tail of the snake. The length of the tail is increasing every time it is hitting the apple food. And now the moment it will hit the boundary of this rectangular gray field. So you can see now the tail is no more visible to us. Why? Because we have successfully resetted the game to its initial position, and initially the snake doesn't have any tail. Right, so the moment it will collide with any of the four gray walls, so gray boundary, gray fields boundary, so this will happen. The body will become empty. Fine, so the point where we started, we will end up at the same point. Fine, that's what we have done here. It's time for us to get this score also on the display window. How we'll do it? So we can use this variable text, and let's use text function. Fine. So inside this text function, we can put text is equal to, and let's not put anything inside these double inverted commas. It's time for us to make this text globally accessible. So we can come inside this update function. Let's put a separator, and after that text. Fine. And now what we can do, we can simply, now how we will calculate the score. Now that's the point. So for calculating the score, we can come down here inside this if control statement, which we have defined for keeping a check on the collision part. So every time the collision happens, the value of the score should get incremented. So that is what I am going to do. So how can we get the value of this score? How can we get the value of score incremented? There is a variable named eaten I have used here. How many apples the snake has eaten till now? So this, with the help of this variable, I'm going to keep a check on this. Now the moment it will eat any apple, so the value of this self dot eaten should increase by 1, right? So how can we do that? Simply use this code self dot eaten plus is equal to 1, right? And then we can keep a check on the y attribute of this text, so it should be equal to -1. Let's now put this text here and use this text function. Okay, so here the text should be equal to what? Let me just f string the value of self dot eaten. But before that, I would like to see this thing getting reflected, apple eaten, and then colon, and after that we can put these brackets. I hope you guys know about how to use this f string function. So anything you'll put inside the curly brackets will get converted from integer to a string type of value. So because self.eaten is going to have a integer type of value, this f string will convert it into string, and with this apple eaten, which is behaving as a string right now, which the interpreter is going to read as a string, it is going to reflect this score also, right? To us it will, to the user it will appear as if it's a integer value, but now it's time for us to define the position also of this text. So for doing that, we can simply use this position attribute, and I would like to see it getting reflected somewhere on the top of the gray field. Can we do it with the help of this? We will have to check it, and let's define the origin also. Now, if I want to see it getting reflected in the middle, I can simply pass 0, 0 to this origin attribute. Okay, you would like to define a scale, so you can use this scale factor. Scale is equal to 1.5. What is the color you would like to see the text getting reflected in? So I would like to see it getting reflected in the yellow color. Right, fine. Would you like to have a background kind of thing also? Yes, I do like to have a background also for this text. So background, and pass this value true to this. Fine, and once you're done with this, you can save the changes. Now if I will run the code, let's see what is going to happen. So I'll have to first cancel the build. Now I'll have to rebuild the this code in order to check out the output. So right now the background, the sky background, this gray field and the snake's head and this code is visible to us. The moment the snake will collide with this food, okay, so I am getting an error over here. What's the error? Let me just check it out. So it says something like render mode ICCP no incorrect. Yes, okay. I think the values I've passed here are not correct. Maybe that's the reason it is giving us this error. No problem. Let me just check it out. Fine. Then we have used this text is equal to f string apple eaten self dot eaten, and we have passed this position 0 comma 0 comma 3. Origin is equal to 0 comma 0. Scale is also perfectly fine. So what is the error now? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me change it to small y. I think that is the issue, and rest everything is good to go. Let me check it again. So moment the snake will collide with this. Okay, so we are able to see this apple eaten is equal to 1, and it is getting updated every time the snake is touching the apple, and it's looking very beautiful, right? Now if you don't want to see it getting reflected in the middle, because what is happening, it is overlapping this you crashed text. So in order to shift it somewhere on the top over here on this gray field, we can change this y value of this position, y attribute of this position. So let's make it 0.3. I think it will give us the correct output. Okay, now it is perfectly fine. So we are able to see the score getting reflected on the top of the gray field, and it is looking very beautiful. Right. Let me now do one thing. Let me crash the game. So I can do it like this. Okay, so the moment it crashes, we are able to see this apple eaten is still 5. It should be 0, right? Because we have restarted the game. It should also become equal to 0. Now what shall we do in order to set it back to 0 or back to its initial value? So we can come up over here. So that's the if control statement, with the help of which we are checking the collision happening in between the snake's head and the boundaries of the gray field. So the moment the game crashes, all these things will happen. And besides that, I would like the self dot eaten's value should also become equal to 0. Right, I think that is going to work, and I am going to get the correct output with this. So it's Apple right now, the score is 1, and it has updated to 2. It has got updated to 2, and the moment the game crashes, what will happen? Okay, so it is still 3. Let me now start the game. Okay, it is still 3. It hasn't changed. Okay, so now it's 1, means earlier when the game started, it didn't change, the value didn't get updated, but the moment I pressed the direction keys, the the score again started from 0. So I think it is working perfectly fine now, right? Okay, let's now define the code for uh, updating this value, right? Now, what is happening when I am, this is actually an issue. For me, it is an issue actually. So, when I am colliding with the snake, with this food, the snake, the score's value is updating and it is perfectly fine. But the moment it touches the field, so the game crashes, and still, we are able to see this value 5 over here. The moment I start playing or moving the snake, and it is still 5, it should not behave like this. If the game is the user is again playing the game, or he has restarted the game, so this apple eaten's value should become 0, right? The moment now it will hit this apple food, now it has become 1, and now we'll be able to see it incrementing by 1 every time this snake will hit the apple food. Fine, so let me do one thing. So at this point, what is happening? I'm updating the value of this eaten, but I am not displaying it on the window. The updated value, I haven't displayed it on the window. Now, how to get it displayed on the window? We can use these 2 lines of code. So I'm copying these 2 lines of code from here, and I would like to simply paste it over here right below this self.it. Fine, and I think rest everything is going to remain the same, or do I need to change anything? I think it is going to work fine now. So let me just run this game and check it whether we are going to get the required output or not. So apple eaten is equal to 1, apple eaten is equals to 2, the tail is increasing, the length of the tail is also increasing, apple eaten is equal to 3. Oops, the game crashed, and you can see now we can see the updated value of apple eaten, which is 0. So the player can restart the game, he can again start playing the game, and now we can see the value of apple eaten is changing every time the player collides with the apple food. So it is working perfectly fine now. Okay, so we are done with defining the code for this beautiful apple food game. It's time for us to make this game more interactive. So let me first show you the music files I have downloaded from the internet, which I am going to add to my game so as to make it more interactive. So it's in the same folder in which I have kept all my game files. So the code file is also there, and the images are also there, whatever I've used. I've used only one image in this game, right? So you can find, I can find it over here in this snake named folder. That's the one. And these are the two audio files which I would like to add now to my game. This is going to be heard by the user when the snake will hit the food. It will bite the food, right? So what is the full name of this file? Let me first find it out. So the complete name of the file is bite.wave. So it's a wave file. Fine. So what I can do, I can come up over here. So I need to come down over here, and that's where I've defined the if control statement for keeping a check on the collision happening in between the snake and the apple food. So here, every time the collision will occur, I would like the user to hear this audio in the background. Apple dot, what was the name? It's byte, sorry, not apple, byte dot wave, and let's keep it inside the single inverted commas. Fine, and similarly, if the game crashes at any point of time, I would like, so that's the if control statement, right? Which is checking the crash, occurrence of crash. So if the game crashes, I would like to hear this whistle sound. So I'm changing this to whistle. Okay, I think W is in small. Yeah, perfectly fine. Let me run it and show you the output now. So every time the snake will collide with this apple food, so we were able to hear that bite sound, right? Perfect. And in case it hits any of these four walls of this gray field, then what will happen? Let's check it out. So that's the whistle sound the user is going to hear. So it is, it's more interactive now. It's uh, more likable, and the users are going to like it very much. Perfectly fine. Now, before ending this video, I would like to see the comment section. If I have anything to answer, definitely I would answer that query or queries. Yash Rathod, thank you very much, dear, for joining me in this tutorial at this time. I hope you're liking this video. Please do like and share this video in your groups so as to make it reach to the maximum students possible. And in case you have any queries, I am checking the comment section. You can share with me your queries in the comment box. Please put your queries in the comment section. Captain, hello dear. Okay, fine. So let me again go back to the coding part and explain the whole code to you guys, what all things I have defined the code for. So these are the two modules I have used for this game, Orsina and Random. Then I created this class named player in which I have defined some functions. So that's the function with the help of which I have created my snake's head, and it is black in color, and that's the scale I have kept for my snake's head. If you'll increase the snake's head scale, what will happen? So I've increased it from 0.05 to 0.07. So you'll see a bigger head now. Fine, you'll see a bigger head and a smaller tail. This is also looking perfectly fine, right? But so that's how the snake is going to look like now. So I'm making it again equal to 0.05. That's the collider box which I've defined for my snake for checking the collision happening in between the snake's head and the apple, and also checking the collision in between the snake's head and the borders or boundaries of the gray field. This is the update function helping me to update the value of this body named variable, which is a kind of empty list I've defined, in which the snails, what we call it, this snake's body is getting saved. So the body, I'm making use of this function entity for creating the body of this snake. So every time the snake will hit the apple, a new rectangle will get added to the body list, and that whole list will appear as a rectangular body in the back side of the snake's black head. Right, so this is what I have used. This is the concept I've used for this game. That's the function with the help of which I'm controlling the movement of my snake along all the axis. Fine. Then that's the code I have used for creating the gray field, which you are able to see, on which the snake is running and the apple food is there. Then we resetted the camera's position. We rotated it along the x-axis by 56 degree. Then that's the code with the help of which I've created the apple, the red apple. Let me just reduce the size of this window so that you can see the whole code. Okay, so that's the whole code. Right, and then there is this object I've created for calling this player named class. I've defined right on the top, in which all the functions are there. Then that's the variable I've used for getting the score on the display window. So this is what I have done, and let me now play this game again for you guys. Please do not forget to like and share this video in your groups and make it reach to the maximum students possible. Also, it's a request to all of you to you know keep attending the lectures, because there is a lot more to come based on game development and many other coding things on this channel. In case you have some good idea, you please feel free to share it with us in the comment box. And in case you want us to provide you tutorials on a platform which you are finding difficult to understand, you're most welcome to let us know about the name of that platform, so that we can help you guys with the most appropriate, most relevant, and most amazing videos of the platform you're checking the videos for on the YouTube. So thank you very much, everyone. This is it from my side in this lecture. Before going out, let me check the comment box again. Okay, I'm not able to see any queries in the comment section. However, in case while developing this game you come across any issue, please do share with me your issues in the comment section. Put your queries, or else you can join my tomorrow's lecture. So I'm going to shoot 15 to 16 more lectures on this game development. Fine, you can join them and you can share with me your queries about the games which I have shooted till now. There are many games which I have taught you till now on this channel. Please do like and share them, and also please do practice them. Try to modify the things I have used here. You can experiment on these things. You can do some experiment on these things. For example, I've used gray here. You can change it to red, and then you can see the output. Then you can check the output. The code is very simple. It's just a 76 lines of code. And see, now we are getting a red color, this rectangle over here. And it is also looking very beautiful. Then you can change the shape of the color of the food so as to make it visible to the user. So I'm changing it to Right, and let's see what's gonna happen now. So earlier we were not able to see the food. Now we are able to see this food. See, it's looking more real now, right? So that's how you can experiment on this code I share with you guys, right, in order to get a good understanding of all these things. So this is it from my side in this lecture. Thank you very much for being there with me in this tutorial. Hope you will be there in the next tutorial also, which I will shoot tomorrow at the same time, 5:30.